As the deer pants for the water, so my soul longs after you. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship you. You alone are my strength, my shield. To you alone may my spirit yield. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship you. You're my friend and you are my brother, even though you are a king. I love you more than any other, so much more than anything. You alone are my strength, my shield. To you alone may my spirit yield. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship you.
Today's scripture is 1 John chapter 3, 4 through 10. Everyone who sins breaks the law. In fact, sin is lawlessness. But you know that he appeared so that he might take away our sins, and in him is no sin. No one who lives in him keeps on sinning. No one who continues to sin has either seen him or known him. Dear children, do not let anyone lead you astray. The one who does what is right is righteous, just as he is righteous. The one who does what is sinful is of the devil, because the devil has been sinning from the beginning. The reason the Son of God appeared was to destroy the devil's work. No one who is born of God will continue to sin, because God's seed remains in them. They cannot go on sinning because they have been born of God. This is how we know who the children of God are, and who the children of the devil are. Anyone who does not do what is right is not God's child, nor is anyone who does not love their brother and sister. Let's pray. You God, I want to just thank you for everyone here on this campus, and that we were all able to get here this morning and worship you and sing songs to praise your name. And just thank you for this wonderful place that we can call home for a few short months. And please help us make the most of it. In your name, amen.
How is God working in your life? What is your reaction to that going to be? We're going to continue that conversation today. Let's not waste the opportunity to hopefully hear from God. Remember, the stories that are being shared this week are not your story, but the stories that they are proclaiming and talking about this God is the same God that we all have the opportunity to serve. So what is God doing, and how will we respond? The next couple of days, after we heard from a student yesterday, I want to thank Dree again. The next couple of days, we have very recent students, a couple of people who now work here. I thought it would be appropriate to hear from them and what transformation means to them. And all three of the people, and I guess myself as well, we all come from such different backgrounds this week. But yet we see the same God working through them in powerful ways. So let's welcome today Mr. Bryce Tyler.
Woo! So, transformation, right? Transformation takes many shapes and sizes, and the first bit of transformation you might notice, if you remember Monday when Sam announced who was speaking, he said Bryce Smith would be speaking, but I transformed into Bryce Tyler today, so I hope that's okay with you guys. Got you, Bryce. Okay, today I want to talk to you guys about this crazy idea of transformation, like everybody else this week. But really, Sam and Dree both did amazing and phenomenal jobs the last few days in chapel. And I know that Jolene will do an awesome job talking to you guys tomorrow as well. Today, the idea that I want to focus on inside of transformation is that you have the opportunity to affect transformation in other people's lives. I want to talk about a couple of the ways that we affect other people and are affected by them. And also, just since we do affect others, to think about how you affect the other people in the world around you that could ultimately lead to them being transformed. So the main idea of the word transformation for me is something that is changing, evolving, or converting into something else. This doesn't mean that this is a change always for the better, or that this always happens for the good, but I think positive transformation can come through those situations later. If you take a moment and you think about the times that you've experienced the most growth, or the most maturity, or the most change in your life, chances are several of those times probably weren't the most happy times for you. They probably weren't very enjoyable times for you, but if you reflect back, you can probably see several of those opportunities that led and opened up to allow you that growth and maturity that you have achieved now. I want to share just a couple stories about my life, about the way that my life has been transformed and is being transformed, kind of to lay out the idea of how lives can be transformed by the acts of others. So one way that my life was drastically transformed happened when I was 10 years old. So growing up, I lived with my parents. My parents were never married, they were just dating. And it was the both of them, my older sister Liz by a few years, and it was me. When I was 10, my dad got this job. He started working in Kansas, and so he was working down there for a couple weeks. He was just gone a lot. We didn't see him very much. But one day he was working, and he called up my mom, and he said, "Hey, I'm not coming back." He said that he had found someone else, and that he was going to live his life there, away from us from then on. This wasn't something we really saw coming. It wasn't something that we expected at all, and it actually hit my mom and our family very hard. Very shortly after, my mom ended up losing her job. So now, in less than a month, my mother went from a semi-normal 14-year-long relationship with 2 incomes to absolutely nothing with 2 kids to raise. So things changed a lot. My sister, who was still in high school at the time, ended up taking up 2 or 3 jobs for the rest of her time in high school, and I'll never forget that she had to pick me up and take me around to different stores to go school clothes shopping because my mom, while working over 100 hours a week to try to get ahead, still didn't have enough money to both feed us and get me clothes that actually fit me. To this day, my mother says that was the worst thing that's ever happened to her, and I don't think either her or my sister had ever fully healed or moved past that moment. An experience like that has transformed me over a long period of time into learning to be okay and to be happy with little. Through that, I learned to appreciate when people take time to give you things or do things for you, because at that time it didn't seem like anybody was doing that for us. I'm blessed now by this transformation, but it doesn't mean that it was something that was easy for me by any means. So fast forward to my time here at York College. There are plenty of times looking back that I can see countless efforts of faculty and staff and other people here who are pouring into me and believing in me. But I want to take time just to focus on these 2 main stories that happened to make me this person that stands in front of you today. So during my time here at York, I was a student for 5 years, and all of those years except for my first semester, my freshman year, I was an RA. And I loved my job as an RA. I loved it. I loved everything about it. But also, if I'm being completely honest, I don't think I could have afforded to finish school here without that job as an RA. So if that's not motivation to work harder, yeah, I don't know what is. Still, though, one area that I never cared about, and I don't know, maybe you think this is weird because it's college, but one area I didn't really care about was my schoolwork. I loved learning. I loved the social aspect. I liked the people and meeting them, and I loved the campus here. But I never really tried in doing the work. The thing that I didn't realize is that me not caring about the work had a chance to negatively impact my life here as a student and my job as an RA. I always kind of had this ritual every semester, and by ritual I mean like I didn't really have any other choice because I procrastinated so long it just became inevitable. But I had this ritual where I would barely do any of my homework all semester. Awesome ritual, huh? And then the last week of school would hit, and I would start going crazy and freaking out about all my grades and all my classes. I'd start staying up multiple nights in a row, just trying to hammer out the last bits of homework I have and emailing all my teachers to see if they would accept any of my homework. Most of the time they wouldn't, and rightly so, they wouldn't accept it, but still, through that, the work just never seemed important to me. And faculty, I just want to take a moment to apologize for the ultimate stress that I put you through as my time as a student, but we made it to graduation, so won't have to worry about that. Thank you. But still, at that time, I had this problem. I had the problem where I just didn't care, and I didn't care about how that affected me in my time here. So one of my closest friends really took a look at me and started thinking about what he could do to help me in this situation, and through this situation that I seem to get myself stuck in every single semester. This was not his problem at all, and honestly, I should have realized by this point that I needed to get my act together. That I needed to grow up and be mature and handle the business that I agreed to handle when I chose to come here and be a student. But even still through that, he chose to do something for me that he may think was small, but for me it was huge and it was very effective. He did this. One year, a couple of weeks before the last week of school, he opened up his apartment to me. He set up a table, allowed me a quiet place to study, and he said this message. Oh, he laid out his really, really nice headphones. Those are the nicest headphones I've ever worn, by the way. But he gave me a couple pops, his headphones, and he left me with this message. He told me, "You're smart. You can do this." He said, "It's very important that you get this done, and I'm going to help you." Had it not been for him that year, I'm confident that I would not have had a high enough GPA to be allowed back as an RA here at York College the next semester. The crucial part of this is that without that RA scholarship, I would not have had the money to come back to school, because even with it, every year it was a struggle to make sure that I'd still be able to be here. So my career at York College definitely would have ended that semester. I was blown away that somebody had seen enough value in me that I was worth going through any effort at all to help out, especially on something like doing your homework at school. I've never forgotten this moment, and the next few years I would look at this picture every single semester, and it was a great reminder to me that I needed to start working earlier than the very last week of school, because I had made a commitment to the students here at the college and to residence life as an RA, and I needed to follow through with that commitment. I had made a commitment to my family to come to college and spend a ton of money, try to make something out of myself so that I wouldn't end up drowning in debt, and so that I could try my hardest to float above that. This had begun a transformation in me that I wouldn't truly see the fruits of until this semester. And a great example of how that transformation has been present for years is this also. This picture was taken in my office last night as I was running through the finishing touches of this chapel talk today. And I was probably doubting myself and probably saying this is dumb. And Colin came in. He said, "I knew you'd be here. Here you go." What an amazing example of support and consistency in a relationship. So thank you, Colin. So fast forward a little more, and now it's the August of this past year. I had a killer time doing traveling camps all semester, or all summer for the third time with the admissions department, and it was finally time to get back into the grind of learning how to do what I would soon call today my passion, or my job that I do every single day today. Yeah, it's been a whole semester, and I'm still new. I'm still learning a lot, and it's definitely a process, but I feel like I still have a lot to learn, but I'm dedicated to that. But as the first semester this year was just getting ready to take off, I actually got some pretty terrible news. I found out that my grandmother was in the hospital again, with cancer again for the third time. At this point, physically, my grandma couldn't handle another round of chemo. She couldn't handle surgery, and she had already had a lot of health problems, and only because she's so stubborn, she survived cancer that second time. My grandma is somebody that I look up to more than anybody that I could probably think of. And all through elementary school and middle school and most of high school, I'd see her every single day, and I'd spend more hours than I guess are average for the most person to spend with their grandmas. But she was my best friend, so of course I saw her all the time. My grandma was like the glue of our broken family and just had a way to calm everybody down, especially over the holidays when tensions were really high and everybody was fighting. She was my hero. My grandma passed away this year during orientation week, and of all the deaths that I've experienced in my life, this one was definitely the hardest. From the first day of school starting this last semester, all the way through the entire semester, and finally ending, thankfully, the day after Christmas, our family would witness the passing of and attend four funerals of close family. Both my remaining grandparents, my grandmas, my aunt, and my 12-year-old cousin. This last semester has been trying and challenging and has taken a toll on me. But still, I can't help think about the ways my entire life that my grandma has been transforming me every year to love people better like she did. To love people better like God does every single day, and I see that now. I just wish I saw it earlier. I also can't help but think about the endless support that I receive from my team here in student development, who take me in and challenge me to be a better person in every single thing that I do. And they tell me things like, "Don't worry, we've already taken care of it. Take some time for yourself." The same team that, while things are crazy and hectic and several hundred students are showing up all to campus at the same time, still made time to buy beautiful flowers, write thoughtful notes, and make an appearance at several of those funerals. Just to say that we're here for you. I think of the support that I have from my friends that I've made here through my time, and my girlfriend Marissa, who always have my back no matter what and challenge me to be a better person as well. And so many of the people who work here. It's not work when you love what you do. And the main transformation that York has given me has been a community, it's been a family, and York College has been a home for me. The main idea of all these stories that I shared with you today is that I was affected by somebody else in my environment. And because other people made such meaningful impacts on my life, I couldn't help but be transformed. So there's a lot to say about the ways that I've affected other people, throughout my life, and many of those I'm not proud of. But in an effort to move forward now, I try to think at the end of every day, how did I transform the people around me? Did I try to leave the conversations and relationships that I was in at the end of the day as someone who was working towards the benefit of those around me? And did I allow God to use me and take over and use me for His will in other people's lives? Did I pray every single day that God would use me in all the ways that He saw best to be there for the human beings experiencing life around me, or did I choose another path? So think about what person you will be. Think about the path that you will choose, but most importantly, I'll leave you with this. I challenge you to be the person that looks forward to being used by God for the purposes of transformation in other people's lives. God bless you and thank you.